Fuxi, the first ancestor of mankind in Chinese mythology. Ranked first among the three emperors, namely the Sky Emperor Fuxi, the Earth Emperor Shenong, and the Human Emperor Nuwa. In different ancient books, Fuxi is referred to by various names and titles, with the most common one being Taihao. Narrating the story of Fuxi, another important figure that cannot be avoided is Nuwa, who will be featured in a separate video. As for the story of Fuxi, there are different versions in the classics of each era. Some points of view will be selected to introduce. In 1100 BC, during the Western Zhou dynasty, the Book of Changes first tells the story of Fuxi's creation of the world. 谓之天根者，以其混沌世界，黑暗无光，忽焉异化开天，而阴阳动静迭为升降，天地定位，日月运行，万物之生生不息。Fuxi was born in chaos. With a paintbrush, he drew heaven and earth. The clear part became the sky, and the cloudy part became the earth. Friends who have seen the content of the last issue, does this paragraph feel familiar to you? The time when Pangu appeared in the ancient books was about 1,300 years after Fuxi. It is speculated that the reference prototype of Pangu came from Fuxi. Chu's silk manuscript come from the Warring States period around 200 BC. Although there are some disputes about the interpretation of the fragments, there are different narratives about the story of Fuxi's creation. Before heaven and earth were formed and the world was still in chaos, there were two gods, Fuxi and Nuwa, who became husband and wife and gave birth to 4 children. The 4 children later became the 4 gods representing the 4 directions. The 4 gods understand yin and yang, comprehend the rules, and ultimately collaborate to create heaven and earth. More than 1,000 years later, the 5th child, Yijun, was born and also played a significant role in Chinese mythology. His identity is equivalent to that of Zeus in ancient Greek mythology, and he will be introduced separately in subsequent programs. In 500 AD, during the Southern Liang dynasty, it was recorded in the selected works of Zhao Ming that Fuxi had a scaled body and Nuwa had a snake body. This image has been depicted on numerous cultural relics since ancient times. In the Tang dynasty, Du Yiji, written by Li Rong, recorded the story of how Fuxi became the ancestor of mankind. At the beginning of the universe, only Fuxi and Nuwa siblings lived at the foot of Kunlun Mountain. 2 people married to reproduce humanity, but feel ashamed. So, he inquired with the heavens and ultimately obtained their permission. He named everything in the world and created the most primitive form of writing. Nets were made to catch fish and taught to the people, and wild animals were tamed to become domestic animals. Taiji generates 2 complementary forces. 2 complementary forces generate 4 aggregates. 4 aggregates generate 8 trigrams. The creation of the world and becoming the ancestor of mankind showcased the divine side of Fuxi, so the invention of Tai Chi Bagua is closer to the category of people. When people faced problems they couldn't comprehend, they sought advice from Fuxi. However, the unanswered questions left him feeling perplexed. He speculated about the sun and moon, the changing of the stars, studied the changes of the earth's seasons, and the blooming and withering of flowers. He also began using yarrow for divination purposes. Later, Fuxi obtained the river map and Luoshu from the body of the Lung horse and the divine turtle. Through this discovery, he gained an understanding of the laws governing changes in heaven and earth. All things in the world are composed of yin and yang. Thus, the original Taiji diagram and symbols representing yin and yang are constructed and are named Yao. Similarly, the Yao is also classified into yin and yang, known as Yin Yao and Yang Yao. Everything in the world, unlike a coin, has more than 2 sides. There is constant development and change. Simply using yin or yang to represent this is insufficient. through further division, yin and yang evolved into 4 aggregates to represent the 4 stages of development of things. This is the meaning of 2 complementary forces generate 4 aggregates. Further subdivision of the 4 aggregates will form the initial 8 diagrams. The 8 diagrams are widely used in divination, feng shui, traditional Chinese medicine, and other fields. Exploring the meaning of 8 trigrams, one can better understand the connotation and spiritual essence of Chinese culture. Why does the image of Fuxi exist in 2 forms, human and human-headed lung? One of the most significant reasons is that the records related to Fuxi span a very long period. And his image is not derived from a single source but from the integration of multiple periods and ethnicities in China. This encompasses various historical eras and regional cultures. A civilization that has been isolated for an extended period will inevitably decline. The Chinese civilization can only be preserved in the long river of history through continuous adaptation, change, and integration.